Hi everyone, this is Narendra Sirswa and welcome to Udan. I think these questions may ask you in your exam. So open your mind and question number first is consider the following statements. Statement first is governments impose economic sanctions to alter the strategic decisions of state and non-state actors that violate international norms of behavior. And second statement is economic sanction resolutions in the 15-member Security Council must be passed by a two-third majority vote and without a veto from any of the permanent member. And statement third is extraterritorial sanctions or secondary sanctions are designed to restrict the economic activity of governments, business, and nationals of third countries. Which of the statements given above are correct about economic sanctions? Option A 1 and 3 only, option B 1 and 2 only, option C 2 and 3 only, option D 1, 2 and 3, and the right answer is option A 1 and 3 only. Let's explain this. Governments and multinational bodies impose economic sanctions to try to alter the strategic decisions of state and non-state actors that threaten their interests or violate international norms of behavior. And next is critics say sanctions are often poorly conceived and rarely successful in changing a target's conduct, while supporters contend they have become more effective in recent years and remain an essential foreign policy tool. Next is sanctions have been the defining feature of the Western response to several geopolitical challenges, including North Korea's nuclear program and Russia's intervention in Ukraine. In recent years, the United States has expanded the use of sanctions, applying them against adversaries in Iran, Russia, Syria, and Venezuela. As the UN's principal crisis management body, the Security Council may respond to global threats by cutting economic ties with state and non-state groups. Sanctions resolution must pass the 15-member council by a majority vote and without a veto from any of the 5 permanent members. The most common types of UN sanctions which are binding for all member states are asset freezes, travel bans, and arms embargoes. Prior to 1990s, the Council imposed sanctions against just 2 states, Southern Rhodesia 1966 and South Africa 1977. Next is question number 2. As per the latest released data of Index of Industrial Production 2019, consider the following statements. Statement first is there is an increase in consumption of consumer non-durables goods in the economy. Second statement is nearly half of industry groups in the manufacturing sector showed positive growth as compared to the previous year. And third statement is electricity generation has registered a negative growth as compared to the previous year data. Which of the statements given above are correct? Option A 2 and 3 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, option D 1, 2 and 3. And right answer is option D, all of the above. So next is explanation. The Index of Industrial Production IIP is an index that shows the growth rates in different industry groups of the economy in a fixed period of time. It is compiled and published monthly by the Central Statistical Organization CSO, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Base year for IIP is 2011-2012 The 8 core industries of India represent about 40% of the weight of items that are included in the IIP. Next is question number 3. The objective of doctrine of proportionality implies. Option A, judicial review in the cases of legislative action only. Option B, used as a criterion of fairness and justice in statutory interpretation processes. Option C, it is a kind of restriction for the being drastic when it is utilized for securing desired results. Option D is both B and C, and right answer is option D, both B and C. Let's explain this. Doctrine of proportionality or test of proportionality. What do we mean by this? The concept of proportionality is used as criterion of fairness and justice in statutory interpretation processes as a logical method to assist in discerning the correct balance between the objects of a legislation and the means adopted to achieve them. Next is a doctrine of proportionality is related to principle of interpretation of statutory provisions which maintain fairness and justice. It is a kind of restriction for the administrative action or legislative enactments from being drastic when it's utilized for securing desired results, so that a sense of proportion is maintained between its goals together with preserving public interest with least effect on the rights of the individuals. Next is the doctrine of proportionality was adopted in Om Kumar versus Union of India. In this case, the disciplinary authority had asked the Supreme Court to reconsider the quantum of punishment given to 4 civil servants. The court refused to reconsider the quantum of punishment as no principle of law was violated, nor the punishment was shockingly disproportionate to the mischiefs committed by the concerned persons. This position of law was crystallized by the Supreme Court itself in later cases. Next is question number 4. Right to reservation to economically weaker section is included under the right of provision of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, and equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Which of the following is in the Constitution of India correctly and appropriately imply the above statements? Option A, Article 14 and 15 and the provisions under the DPSP under Part 4. Option B is Article 16 and the rights under the life and personal liberty. Option C, Article 15 and 16 and the provisions under the 103rd Amendment to the Constitution. Option D is Article 16 and the provisions under the DPSP under Part 4. And the right answer is option C. The 103rd Amendment of the Constitution of India, officially known as the Constitution Act 2019, introduced 10% reservation for EWS section of society for admission to central government run educational institution and private educationally institution, except for minority educational institutions and for employment in central government jobs. The amendment does not make such a reservation mandatory in state government run educational institutions or state government jobs. However, some states have chosen to implement the 10% reservation of EWS sections. Next is under Article 15 of the Constitution prohibits discrimination against any citizens on the grounds of race, religion, caste, sex, or place of birth. The bill seeks to amend Article 15 to additionally permit the government to provide for the advancement of EWS section. Further, up to 10% of seats may be reserved for such sections for admission in educational institutions, such as reservation will not apply to minority educational institutions. Under Article 16 of the Constitution prohibits discrimination in employment in any government office. However, the government can allow reservation for any backward class of citizens if they are not adequately represented in the services under the state. The reservation of up to 10% of EWS in educational institution and public employment will be addition to the existing reservation. Next is question number 5. The first ever comprehensive national nutrition survey was conducted by the option A, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, option B, Niti Aayog, option C, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, option D, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and the right answer is option A, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Let's explain this. The Comprehensive National Nutrition Survey, led by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and done in collaboration with the United Nations Children Fund UNICEF. The CNNS has findings that corroborate the results of the National Family Health Surveys NFHS 3 and 4 with respect to data on nutrition status and morbidity among children. Next is question number 6. Consider the following statements. Statement first is GDP measures the value of the all final goods and services produced within a country borders, while GNP measures the value of all final goods and services produced by a country's citizens. Statement second is countries like India have greater GNP compared to corresponding GDP figures due to large foreign direct investment. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, option D, neither 1 nor 2. And right answer is option A, 1 only. What do we mean by GDP? GDP stands for gross domestic product, and gross national product are both metrics used to measure a country's economic output. GDP measures the value of goods and services produced within a country's borders, while GNP measures the value of goods and services produced by a country's citizens both domestically and abroad. Next is GNP is equal to GDP plus X minus M, where X minus M is called as a net factor income from abroad. Next is countries like India, China have lower GNP compared to corresponding GDP figures due to net overall outflow from the country. This is because the citizens and businesses of these countries operating overseas are generating a lesser income compared to the income generated by the foreign citizens and businesses operating in these countries. Next is question number 7. Consider the following statements regarding ARIA project. First statement is it is to attract and empower the youth in rural areas to take up various agriculture, allied and service sector enterprises. Statement second is it is implemented through Krishi Vigyan Kendra only in only district from each state. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. And right answer is option C, both 1 and 2. What do we mean by ARIA project? It is to attract and empower the youth in rural areas to take up various agriculture, allied and service sector enterprises for sustainable income and gainful employment in selected districts, to enable the farm youth to establish network groups to take up resource and capital intensive activities like processing, value addition and marketing. Next is the GOI, Government of India launched ARIA, attracting and retaining youth in agriculture in 2015. It is implemented through Krishi Vigyan Kendra in one district from each state. KVKs will involve the agricultural universities and ICAR institutes as technology partners. In one district, 200 to 300 rural youths will be identified for their skill development in entrepreneurial activities and establishment of related micro enterprise units. At KVKs, also 1 or 2 enterprise until will be established so that they serve as entrepreneurial training units for farmers. Next is question number 8. Consider the following statements regarding subsidy in India. Statement first is it is a part of central sector scheme of Department of Fertilizers. Statement second is under this scheme urea is being provided to the farmers at a statutorily notified maximum retail price. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. And right answer is option C, both 1 and 2. Urea subsidy in India. Urea subsidy is a part of central sector scheme of Department of Fertilizers. Urea is being provided to the farmers at a statutorily notified MRP. The difference between the delivered cost of fertilizers at farm gate and net market realization by the urea units is given as subsidy to the urea manufacturer importer by the Government of India. So it also includes freight subsidy for movement of urea across the country. Accordingly, farmers are getting urea at affordable MRP because of the subsidy provided by the government. Next is question number 9. Consider the following statements regarding plastic parks schemes. First statement is it is to increase competitiveness and investments as well as achieve environmentally sustainable growth and adopt the cluster development approach to consolidate the capacities in plastic sector. Second statement is it is central sector scheme. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. And right answer is option B. Next is plastic parks scheme. It is to increase competitiveness and investments, achieve environmentally sustainable growth and adopt the cluster development approach to consolidate the capacities in plastic sector. It also seeks to reduce plastic imports. It was envisaged in the National Plastic Park Policy in 2010, which was modified in 2013. The scheme support setting up of a need-based plastic parks and ecosystem with requisite state-of-the-art infrastructure and enabling common facilities to assist the sector move up the value chain and contribute to the economy more effectively. Next is funding pattern. The center will provide 50% of the project cost subject to a ceiling of rupees 40 crore per project, and the rest will be contributed by the Special Purpose Vehicle SPV formed by state government or state industrial development corporation. Next is question number 10. Consider the following statements regarding project MOSAMs. Statement first is it is implemented by national MOSAMs. Statement second is the focus of the project is to re-establish and reconnect communications between 39 countries of the Indian Ocean world only. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, option D neither 1 and nor 2, and right answer is option B 2 only. Project MOSAM, it is implemented by Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi as the nodal coordinating agency with support of Archaeological Survey of India and National Museum as associate bodies. At macro level, the focus of the project to re-establish and reconnect communication between 39 countries of the Indian Ocean world, which would lead to enhanced understanding of cultural values and economic ties. At micro level, it also focuses on understanding national cultures in the regional maritime milieu. One of the main objectives of the project is to inscribe places and sites identified under Project MOSAM as transnational nomination for inscription on UNESCO's World Heritage List. Next is question number 11. Consider the following statements regarding Technical Education Quality Improvement Program TEQIP. The statement first is the project implemented as a centrally sponsored scheme commenced with the World Bank assistance. The statement second is the present third phase of the schemes has Central, Eastern as well as Northeastern region and hill states as its focus states. Which of the statements given above is are correct? Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, option D neither 1 nor 2, and right answer is option B 2 only. Let's explain this. Technical Education Quality Improvement Program TEQIP. The project implemented as a central sector scheme commenced with the World Bank assistance as long-term program of 10 to 12 years. The present third phase of the schemes has Central, Eastern and non-Eastern region and hill states as its focus states. The measures under TEQIP include institution-based accreditation of the courses through National Board of Accreditation, governance reforms, improving the processes, digital initiatives, securing autonomy for the colleges, student-based, improving the quality of teaching, teacher training, equipping the classrooms, revision of syllabus, industry interaction, compulsory internships of students, training the students in industry relevant skills, preparing them for the GATE exam, etc. So students, over for the day, hope you like this. Share this and subscribe our channel, and must download our application from Play Store. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.